had this thing where they really liked YouTube videos. So I was like, well, that'll be cool. Those will get good visibility.
No,
No, not at all.
but we can talk about that here too. That'll be
But
fun.
we'll could just refer people to it. Yeah, and I figure like once a month we're doing a giveaway for the podcast, so like we can just switch it up. Sometimes I'll just sometimes do one of the YouTube videos, sometimes I'll do one of the links, whatever. Hi Trisha. So like here they are again blabbing about whatever, just continuing their conversation from
Trisha, so far it's you and us. Oh, now we've got more people. Okay.
Hi Julie. We'll just wait till you all show up. We're just talking about, I don't even know what we were talking about.
No, nothing.
Nothing dire.
Yeah, nothing dire.
First we complained about the weather, because that's what you do. And then, what was I just saying?
Talk about the YouTube, Facebook thing.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know. The whole visibility thing, it's like, it doesn't matter how much you know or understand. It's all just a crapshoot of what's going to hit and what's not going to hit. It's just... So anyway, where are you guys all? I don't know if that was not a proper sentence, but it's also really late. Am I freezing?
No, you just for half a second, but that was it.
I can't be, again, I'm straddling my modem, so I don't know how, I can't get any closer. Where are you guys? I'm in Chicago.
I'm in Rochester, New York.
You're in New York City, Trisha? My sister lives in Brooklyn, and I used to live in Brooklyn and Queens.
My niece lives in Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she goes to Pratt.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, my girl goes to Pratt. She's like my one of my godchildren.
Julie listened to the mini podcast about the breast milk, things to do with breast milk.
Canada, New York. There's Danielle. Danielle, you didn't answer my email. I was waiting to hear back from you. I can talk anytime tomorrow between like 12 and 3. Let me know if you can do that.
Is this breastfeeding related?
Yeah. Well, Danielle, she's one of my girls. She was actually in a class with me, childbirth, when I was doing childbirth classes at one of the local hospitals, and breastfeeding. And then she had her baby, and she's been in touch with me, and things have gone great. Her baby's adorable, 10 months old, and she wants to start up. She didn't give me too many details, but she wants to do some kind of services with the VA for lactation. So we have
awesome. So she's looking for a little insider information.
Yeah, I think so. So
that's cool.
She's like, when can you talk? And then I didn't hear from her again. I told her I could talk Friday at this time, and she didn't.
Well, she has a baby.
Well,
she's probably sleeping on the toilet.
Okay. Probably sleeping on the toilet. Danielle is sleeping on the toilet.
She probably dozed off while she was trying to pee alone.
No. Julie, in West Virginia, what part of West Virginia are you in? It's snowing here too, by the way. So
yes, and here in Chicago too.
I have friends in, where does Jack live?
West Virginia.
I know, but where? Charleston?
Way to pay attention, Tom.
West Virginia. I know, he's just like not paying attention. I have friends in Charleston, West Virginia. They're very fun. Coal miners.
Oh, wow. That's quite the stereotype.
Isn't it crazy?
Hi, Nikki. My friend Nikki's here. And your faithful, hardworking admin of the Badass Breastfeeder.
Oh, that's awesome.
Muggy and gross in Miami. Sorry, Megan. You're not getting any sympathy from us.
No.
Sorry.
None.
You might get visitors on your couch.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm Abby. I'm the Badass Breastfeeder. And that is not the right way. That is Diane. And she's the lactation consultant.
You're above
are
me.
you?
Yeah, you're above me.
Oh, I don't think that's what they see. I think they see us next to each other.
Oh, that's cool.
Are you on some sort of iPad or something?
I'm on my Mac. I'm on my computer.
Oh.
I'm sure you guys really care about how we see each other on here.
Yeah, I don't know. I always try to point because I think it's funny, but
maybe
they don't even, whatever. And we are hosts of the Badass Breastfeeding podcast. So the next question is, who is listening to the podcast and who needs help finding it? Because all of you should be listening. And all of you who are listening need to tell the people who aren't listening yet that they should be listening, and we will help you find it. You can usually find it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, for those of you who really like the visual, we are doing a YouTube channel now.
Yes, we are on YouTube.
Oh.
And we have the mini podcasts that are going to be on YouTube. We're still working on how to get the bigger podcasts on there. That's a little tricky because we are already in different cities. So, how much breastfeeding do you and I have between us? So I've got 7 years.
7. I've got probably 4 almost.
Okay, so over 10 years. Over 10 years of breastfeeding experience right here looking at you. And
plus my 10 years that I've been a consultant. So.
I was going to say, and an IBCLC. So there you go.
Yeah.
So you guys can find it on YouTube. And so that's good. Some people really like the visual.
Yeah.
And we have a website, badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com, which does not have all the episodes up to date on it right now because it is being completely redone. And it's going to be easier for you to use. It's going to have a lot more information on it. It's going to have a lot of information on how to have a consultation with Diane because she does consultations, online consultations. And it'll have all this great stuff that you need to get connected and to find the podcast.
Yeah.
But you can always find it on iTunes and on Google Play and on Spotify and on Buzzsprout.
Yeah, you can find it.
So
for sure.
You can always, yeah. And we share it constantly. I share it on the page and on Instagram and in my Instagram stories constantly. So
yeah. And we have tons of episodes. So
there's like 60,
almost 70,
65 now. Yeah.
Yeah. And we do have coming up next week, so you have to stay tuned, is about going into the holidays, how to, deal with that breastfeeding while you're at the holiday parties, hanging out with relatives, wanting to eat different, drink, whatever. Definitely check it out because we talked all about that.
Yeah, that'll be a really fun one.
Mm-hmm.
It is fun. It is a good one. It comes out Monday, so.
Yep, comes out Monday, so definitely listen.
And this week right now is supplementing. It was this one's. That was one of the most requested topics was supplementing. And so all about supplementing is up there right now, along with, all the other ones.
Yeah, the supplementing thing. Ugh.
It's complicated. And so many people, we got that comment on Instagram underneath the supplementing when I were talking about it. The name of the podcast is the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast.
We're the hosts. Ta-da!
We are here. Let me put this up here. So somebody said, don't talk about bottles. This is a breastfeeding page. What you shouldn't be talking about bottles.
Mm-hmm.
Except that's ridiculous because some people use bottles.
Right.
And
but with breast milk, not formula.
What is he interjecting now?
He said, but with breast milk in them.
Well, or if you're like me, you were in the hospital and they told you weren't making enough milk, you need this formula. And so a lot of people are put into that situation, a lot. And we can ignore it if we want, except then we'll be ignoring a lot of people who have this situation going on. Okay, am I frozen or is Diane frozen? I just want to know if I should keep talking or if I should try to get back in. And it's her problem. Does anybody hear me? Just let me know who is frozen. Diana's frozen. Okay. So you heard she'll get back in. So here she comes. So we cannot ignore these people who are supplementing hi.
Hi. I don't know what happened.
That's okay. So yeah, so not talking about bottles and not talking about supplementing puts people at a disadvantage, because this is the reality. This is what's happening. So that's all about it there. All about why it happens, how it happens, tips for doing it successfully, and tips for stopping when you're ready to stop.
Yeah, getting away from it.
Information. It's information for your empowerment.
Yes. Things you probably never even thought of that come up with supplementing.
Right.
So it's, yeah, definitely a good one to listen to. And if you have a friend or, or family member that's breastfeeding right now and their doctor tells them to supplement, definitely tell them to listen, because it's an important episode.
Okay, so who has so we have so many episodes at this point that a lot of you ask questions and we say, well, we have an episode on that. And that's good, because then you can listen to, they're 30 minutes long. You can really, really get a lot of information and get the answer to your question. If we don't have an episode on it, we're happy to answer your question. I mean, we're happy to talk about whatever you want us to talk about.
Yeah.
Either way. But we are here to help. So what's going on with you guys? And if you're just joining us, we're hosts of the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. That is a weekly podcast. Well, now it's bi-weekly. Is that how you say that? Twice a week, bi-weekly? Or is that every other week?
Twice a week, Tom.
I never really understand. I never understood that.
Yeah. So yeah, we're doing the mini podcast. So is anybody listening to the mini podcast? Because if you are, we'd love to know like what your opinion is on them, because they're just like little tidbits. So, if you like them, we'll keep doing them.
So yeah, the big one comes out Monday, and then on Thursday we have a little 5-minute little one of topics and Diane and I take turns, and we just talk about things. Oh, and this week is 10 cool things to do with your breast milk besides feeding it to your baby. And if you go to the previous post on the Badass Breastfeeder page, which is where we are right now, if you go to the previous post, it's posted there, and there's a giveaway. I'm running a giveaway in the comments. So go over there and enter and watch the video, because it's fun. All right. We asked for it, so here are the questions.
I know we got a lot of them popping up. You better pick one.
Oh, that's interesting. Currently breastfeeding my third baby. When either of my older children gets sick, I swab their mouth and put it in my mouth. I hope to create antibodies for the baby to protect him. Is this logical? Doctor said it doesn't make a difference. I don't know if it's... Oh, go ahead. You go.
Yeah, I don't know if it's... I mean, I don't think you're hurting anything. But the cool thing is that when the baby actually latches to the breast, the baby tells your body through his or her saliva what antibodies they need. So you don't even need to do that necessarily, because you're
not hurting anything. It's just unnecessary.
Yeah. I mean, if you feel better doing it, then that's fine. You're not hurting anything. But your body is definitely getting the message when you latch your baby.
Is there any truth to weaning a toddler so that they'd sleep through the night?
Yeah, is there any truth to that one, Abby?
No.
No.
No. That's going to help them. I mean, breastfeeding helps them get through the night.
Yeah.
When you stop breastfeeding, they get very, very upset. And I suppose if you really need to night wean, and there's situations where people need to night wean, you get through the hump, but for myself, And for a lot of people, we feel that it's just easier to comfort them and to soothe them through the night in that way. The thing is that, you know, it does get a little, if you're not sleeping in the same room or not sleeping in the same bed, that's exhausting. You know, I sleep in the bed with my kids, so we literally, my boobs are right there and they're right there, and we can all just sleep, and it's not always that easy, you know, but certainly going through the process of weaning is
But I don't want
tough and
anybody to
exhausting.
think that sleep and breastfeeding are related like that, because they necessarily aren't. And for some
Yeah,
reason,
no.
our society has this idea that if you wean, the baby will sleep. And it's like, it's not, your baby isn't waking up just to nurse. Your baby's waking up because of something else. It could be completely developmental. It could be they just woke up at whatever and wants the comfort to go back to sleep. Really.
Well,
I mean,
and
it has nothing to do with like, your breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is not causing your baby to wake up.
Right. And babies and toddlers don't sleep as deeply as adults, and that's for a good reason.
Mhm.
I mean, they're young, you know, they're still developing. It's not, they don't go into those deeper levels of sleep for safety reasons.
Right.
They just naturally will wake up. They sleep more shallowly, they wake up more frequently. It keeps all their organs working. And so, you know, we really want them to sleep deeply and sleep through the night, when that's actually just not something that exists. And, you know, I understand there's the lady that you met at the play date last week whose baby slept through the night, you know, from week 2. I don't know why that happened. But, you know, speaking from, like, you know, just baby toddler behavior, it's really not, it's not natural for them to sleep through the night, as we say.
Yeah.
Oh dear Lord. Okay. I'm sorry. Again, and so, you know, there's a lot of people seeing this video, and we want to answer as many questions as we can. It's probably impossible to answer every single question that you have. If we don't get to your question, please check out the podcast episodes, because you might find that magical, you know, like, people always have a question about biting. There's an episode on biting. It is fantastic. You will have a completely different understanding of what's going on with your child after listening to it. So, you know, that's one that we will skip over directly, you know, direct you to that episode, because, and so that can go for a lot of topics. If we miss yours, just head over there. Let's see. I haven't nurse pumped in over 2 months. I lost my supply from work stress and birth control, tanking my supply. My son is 7 months old now, and I really want to relactate. I got my new pump tonight and did a power pump. Wanted to see if I could get some advice and encouragement. I would love to do an episode on relactation.
I know, it's kind of cool.
I would really like to do that.
Yeah.
So
and you definitely can do this. You just have to be like dedicated and diligent, and it's going to take a little bit of work, but if you want to, and if you're, I mean, I don't know.
So what can she do starting now? Pumping.
Yeah.
Okay, you're breaking up a little bit, I think.
How am I now?
A little broken.
A little broken?
Okay, I heard that.
Okay.
You said a little broken. Yeah.
Yeah, you look better now too. Yeah, the relactating is really cool, but if you are on that birth control still, that might be a problem. So if it was a problem before, it might still be.
Okay. All right, so birth control can hurt that, and so what she just, huh?
I said keep us updated on how that goes. Like, that's definitely, you know, that's.
So what should she do? Just keep pumping?
Start pumping, keep pumping. It's going to take a little time for her body to, you know, but it'll do it.
Okay. I got a couple of questions about nutrition. We should do an episode on that, because there's so many.
We didn't do that
questions
already?
About that. I don't think we did one specifically on nutrition.
No. Well, you know how I feel.
We did one on weight. We did one on exercise or weight loss or something.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah.
So nutrition, I think that this is one of the things that bothers me about like all the terrible information that goes on around about breastfeeding is this idea that you have to have some specific diet where, you'll then make enough milk, or like be able to breastfeed. Milk doesn't work that way.
It doesn't go by what's in your stomach. It has nothing to do with your
No,
stomach.
it's hormonal. It's hormones.
And baby driven.
And that's all. So, be healthy because you want to have energy and you want to live a long time, but you don't have to have a specific diet to be able to breastfeed.
Yeah.
And I always bring this up, and Diane knows what I'm going to say, but we have to remember that there were completely and totally and utterly malnourished women in concentration camps that were making full milk supplies for their babies.
Yeah.
And it's because that's how the body works. So,
yeah. The research that has been done on this shows that the only time milk supply is affected is if it's an extreme malnourished situation. And that is not common here. Like we just don't see that.
Right.
The other thing too is, you trusted your body to make your baby. Your body made this baby. Your body's going to supply what the baby needs.
Cynthia, will my peppermint mocha affect your milk?
Asking you're just talking about this. Drink up.
Girl, have your peppermint mocha.
It's fine.
We talk about that
on the holiday
because it's like in the episode that's coming up next week, because there's so much. I always see these memes going around about peppermint, like, oh, be careful, the Christmas is coming, and everybody who celebrates Christmas is peppermint crazy. Be careful, you might tank your milk supply.
No. Joe Carr has a question about alcohol. Joe.
Oh God, yeah.
Favorite. It is definitely our best, most listened to episode. You've got to listen to it. It will give you all the information you will ever need.
Yes, listen to that episode. Why? So Trisha's saying, why is it so hard to supplement a fully breastfed baby? Every formula?
Why is it fully?
Why is it getting formula if it's fully breastfed?
No.
Why is it so hard to supplement a fully breastfed baby? I don't know. Trisha, clarify.
Listen on that.
Do people really have success with power pumping?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. You have to be pretty consistent with it, and usually like same time of day. But yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to read as fast as I can through these.
Oh, that's okay. There's a bunch of questions that popped up.
Alicia's having sore nipples, I think. 10.5-month-old has 6 teeth and is exclusively breastfed. I work full time and we co-sleep. She dream feeds, which is causing my nipple abrasions that start bleeding when I pump at work. Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. It gets really painful by the end of the week. Yeah. Any tips on healing this?
First of all, make sure your flanges are the right size, because that's going to make it worse if you're pumping. And you definitely got to make sure that her latch is good. Because that's the only way you're going to fix that. If she's got that, kind of sleepy latch where she's not really on, she's going to rub those teeth.
One of the things that I got really used to doing, or I really kind of worked a lot on through breastfeeding at night, was kind of learning when they were in like a deep enough sleep where I could reach my hand in just a little bit and slip my nipple out so that it wouldn't just kind of hang out in there, which also causes like slack jaw, and they'll come down on your nipple like a clamp. Oh, that's happened a couple of times. Woo! I yelped so loud. So yeah. So the latch, I guess that's a big thing. And do we have an episode on latch? We do. Latching 101. It's called Latching 101. Yeah.
Yeah. And my mini podcast is on latch from last week. But yeah, position and latch. But yeah, having the good latch is really important. But if your nipple is kind of like getting a little damaged and then you're pumping on top of it, that's just going to exacerbate it. So definitely like make sure you're using the right size flanges, because if they're too small, that's going to make it worse. You can even line the inside of your flange with like coconut oil or lanolin or something like that, and that'll make it less rough on the nipple too, because you're just putting your nipple in that plastic flange and then it's pulling. So it's going to be irritated by that too.
Laura wants to know if running is going to affect her supply. We do have an episode on exercise, which you should check out. She also says, I know he's not getting enough like he used to because he's been getting frustrated and biting. He's almost a year old. So you feel like you're not making enough because he's getting frustrated and biting.
Wait a minute. Where was that question? Do that one again.
Laura, Ashley, I'm way back here. I'm sorry. I'm way back here. Do you want me? 1 month, 18 days, and 47 minutes shy of my goal of 1 year breastfeeding my son. I started running long distance again recently and have a huge dip in supply. Talked to my Elsie, and she wants me to come in to see her, but it's not that easy. Could running be affecting my supply? I know he's not getting enough like he used to because he's been getting frustrated and biting.
How much are you running?
Yeah, because I don't think that shouldn't affect your supply.
No, how much are you? Yeah, tell me how much you're running, and we'll talk about that. But it might be something completely different.
Supply. Okay, so Katie's supply tanked after her cycle returned. Will my supply come back, or is this it?
No, it'll come back.
Didn't we do an episode on that? I don't know why I can't remember these things.
I know. I don't know if we did. We might have when we were talking about milk supply.
Oh, you know what? No, I did another. I know. So we need to do an episode on the getting the return of your period. We have to do an episode on that.
Yeah. All right. So Laura, you're doing half marathons, but what? So I mean, you're not doing a half marathon every day. So like, what is your what do you run?
I feel like if she did a half marathon every day, that shouldn't affect her supply.
Yeah.
Right?
It really should not. I mean, it really should not. So that's why I'm thinking it must be something else.
So you're up higher than me. Are you already looked through all
I'm
these?
Just kind of like flopping around here. I love it because some of the mamas are just answering the other mamas.
I know. That's so helpful. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys, for helping us out here.
So again, we're looking through the questions, but we are the hosts of the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast if you're just joining us. And we're trying to answer some questions, and we're trying to let people know that there are tons and tons of episodes over there that you need to be listening to, because it's going to answer a lot of these questions that you have. Mm-hmm. And also, the latest mini podcast that came out is 10 cool things to do with your breast milk besides feeding it to your baby, which is the previous post on this page from the post that we're in right now. And there's a giveaway going there, so you can go over there and enter that when we're done. Don't go there right now. Let's see. Yeah, it's true. They're answering each other.
That was a cool idea.
What?
I love that idea.
What idea?
Just the 10 different things you can do with your breast milk. I think that was
Oh, yeah.
Kimmy, you're not stepping on anybody's toes.
No, I was like, what is she talking about? No, don't step, please. Please answer each other. That really helps us because it's so hard to, because when the questions are coming, it's just kind of like, it's moving up the screen so fast. Then we're trying to keep up and we're trying to stop it and trying to answer, trying to see your replies to our questions. So it gets really confusing. Really, if you guys have an answer for each other, please help each other out. That's like what this is all about.
Great. It's our little community.
So, okay, Laura, 8 to 10 miles a week.
No, you're fine.
No way is that affecting your supply. Something else is going on. If you're having, so what makes you think you have a, because I don't feel like, okay, so she said that you feel like that you're not making enough because he's getting frustrated and biting you. I'm not sure that's a sign of not making enough milk.
Yeah, that might not be. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that we know exactly what's going on, but 8 to 10 miles a week. I run that.
That's not yet.
I run that. No.
I was doing, when I was breastfeeding, I was doing probably close to 40 a week. So, it's fine. It could be like if you have your period, that could be doing it. It could definitely be.
Well, and also your baby's almost a year old. So, things might be, they're taking in maybe more. I forgot if you have a boy or what is your baby taking in more solid foods or because your body's just going to adjust to what your baby needs. It doesn't mean that you're drying up and that you're not going to be able to breastfeed. It's just that, breastfeeding changes. In the beginning, you're making all this milk, your boobs are all big because they're full of milk, and then it evens out, and then it evens out some more. And I mean, I breastfed for 6.5 years, and my milk supply just changed based on what and when they were, taking.
Yeah, it really, it's totally, it could be something totally completely different.
Yeah, it could really be anything. I mean, it just doesn't sound like frustrated, especially biting. Babies don't bite your nipple because they're like, where's the milk? Arr!
I know. It's, he could be gassy. He could just be fussy. He could be distracted. There could be a whole bunch of things going on there. You don't have to wean your 8-month-old Joe. Pediatrician said.
Okay, your
Yeah, this is.
I'm sorry, but your pediatrician. Okay, I'll try. I'm trying to be more positive and more friendly in life, so I won't say what I was about to say. But your pediatrician doesn't understand breastfeeding, and this is something that I think that people really, really need to get through their heads. Is that medical doctors do not have lactation training. That's not provided in medical curriculum. So this is why lactation consultants exist, because these are the ones trained in breastfeeding. And so it's really common for, because they don't have this kind of training, they're kind of going off opinions or cultural norms or whatever they've just kind of seen go on around them. But you absolutely do not need to. Why shouldn't they be nursing through the night? Why? What's the why?
Fine.
What's the why? What did they say? Ditch that pediatrician. Exactly. I did that. I mean, I was just, I got so fed up. So, you can smile and nod as much as you can. And if it really just starts to get nauseating, then just find a new pediatrician, somebody who ask around to some other parents, see if they've got a pediatrician that's a little bit more supportive of breastfeeding, maybe understands a little bit more that it's perfectly normal and absolutely healthy to breastfeed through the night.
Yeah.
It's so good for your supply. It's so good for, it's just.
So I have 2 comments on this. First of all, or on my Facebook page, which is Diane Cassidy Consulting, just tonight I posted an article about how common it is that babies don't sleep through the night and how people don't realize that that's really what's supposed to be happening. So it's very timely. It's, just what we're talking about here. So definitely, if you want to, hit up my Facebook page and find that article on there. I just posted tonight. Secondly, one of my colleagues, fantastic doula that I work with, I do classes with sometimes, she just had her third baby a couple months ago. But one of the things that she always says that I love is my pediatrician is there to give me medical advice for my baby, not parenting advice. I don't want parenting advice from my pediatrician. And she's kind of got a point. But if you go into your pediatrician's office and you say, oh my God, I'm so tired, the baby's up 3 times a night to feed, they're going to say something to you like, well, you should not wean your baby because your baby shouldn't be feeding. They want to solve that problem for you.
And this is a common thing too. If you go in and you have all these breastfeeding problems, they might say, well, just give formula.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is what they say because this is what they know. This is what they've been exposed to. And, you might, if you want to give formula, then, fine. But if you don't, that's not, there are solutions to breastfeeding problems. This is like the thing is like, if we're having problems at work, we don't just say, I'm quitting. Forget it. I'm quitting. This is not what we do. We work through these problems. The thing is that your pediatrician likely doesn't know how to do that with you. So this is why we have lactation consultants. And we have Diane here who does online consultations.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you are having like the situation that you just can't find your way out of, and maybe it's something that here on this Facebook chat, you just, we can't give you the right kind of support. You need something more intensive, then she can do that for you at DianeCassidyConsulting.com. Is that right? Can they sign up for it there?
Yeah, they can always reach me through there too. But yeah, it's a really difficult thing. And, I can even say from my personal experience, when I had my twins, my doctor, who I really liked, I was like, this is really hard. I'm trying to breastfeed these 2 babies. I'm not getting, I don't know what to do. And she was like, well, you don't have to do that. You can breastfeed some of the time and give formula some of the time. And I remember thinking, well, that's not really what I want to do. So I guess I'll figure it out for myself. And, just kind of did. And that's really why I ended up becoming a lactation consultant, because there wasn't people to help me. And I ended up having to figure it out on my own. But now there's people, now there is people. You've got us here. There's lactation consultants out there. And you shouldn't have to figure this out for yourself. If you don't want to do formula, if you don't want to wean through the night, any of those things, that people get told that are just ridiculous scams. The episode we did on cavities. Come on. Yeah,
right. Cavities. That was that's the other thing is don't breastfeed at night because it'll cause cavities. It doesn't. Mm-mm. Except that it doesn't. So, except that that's just one of these things, there's all of this kind of cultural information that we have going around that prevents people from reaching their breastfeeding goals. And, on the podcast, I go into a lot about why that goes on, but it's just, there are so many barriers, cultural barriers and misinformation to breastfeeding that are just myths, that are just wrong. Unfortunately, your pediatrician doesn't have that. It's not their fault. It's not in medical curriculum. So, they just don't have that information. And good pediatricians either get the information so that they can pass it on to you, or they say, you should contact a lactation consultant. Mm-hmm. Here's a list of them in the area. Yeah. Just like they would if you had any other kind of, specialized problem when you were in their office.
Right. If you break your arm, they're not going to do anything. They're going to send you to an orthopedic.
Right. They can't fix your broken arm in their office. They're going to send you to the person who fixes broken arms.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have a really a actual name, but I don't know what it is.
Orthopedist, the broken arm fixer person.
Oh yeah, the broken arm fixer person. Yeah. Bailey's talking about oversupply here. We have an episode on oversupply.
Yeah, we do.
There's a fantastic episode too that can help you kind of regulate that.
Yeah, you got a lot going on there, Bailey. Probably more than we can talk about on a Facebook chat. But you could listen to that, and you can always reach out to me too.
Yeah,
if you want
listen
to
the episode, and if you still have questions afterwards, then reach out to us and we can help.
Yeah, I have my own theories on oversupply.
Cammie wants to be a lactation consultant. We have an episode.
We have an episode.
Yeah. That's actually a pretty popular one. People really liked it. People really got a lot. I mean, yeah. Because there's a lot of different things that you can do. So there's 30 minutes of information about what you can do and how to go down the path of each one of those.
Yeah, because it's not even like some people are like, you know what? I don't want to be a whole lactation consultant. I don't want to do all that. It's daunting. I would just love to be able to support moms and babies. Well, there's tons of things you can do for that too. So we talk about all that stuff.
Okay.
You guys had some good questions tonight.
I know. There's always so much going on with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Always. I guess that's the deal with breastfeeding, right? Or anything. I mean, parenting.
Yeah.
We are the hosts. I'm going to say this again. We are the hosts of the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast, which you can find on iTunes, and you can find it on Google Play, and you can find it on Spotify, and you can find it on Buzzsprout, or you might have some podcast app, and so you just get the little search bar and put in Badass Breastfeeding Podcast, and it will likely come up. And the latest, so we have a, are you trying to get your dog in your shot?
He just came up and sat next to me. He won't look. He's not looking. He's chewing on his tail or something. I don't know what he's doing.
Ow. We have the big podcast episodes come out on Monday, and then we have mini podcasts that come out on Thursday. And there's 65 episodes up there, something like that. And the post before this post is the latest mini podcast where I am running a giveaway. So you can go down there and enter that one too.
And we've got all sorts of contests and stuff that we're going to plan to do.
Yeah.
So definitely.
We just did the photo contest, which was
that was big.
Super fun.
That was very big. But definitely listen to the, check it out on YouTube. If you have suggestions, we'd love to hear them.
I'm going to look here and see what the top episodes are right here. I know for a fact that alcohol is number one. Alcohol is number one.
By
what?
By thousands or something.
Yeah. Losing your shit is number two.
Big one.
Cavities is number three.
Oh my gosh.
Exercise is number four. Breastfeeding and sex drive. Postpartum mood disorders, stress. Tongue ties. Gross stories. We have a whole episode on people telling us gross stories.
Yeah.
And breastfeeding tools. Those are the most popular episodes.
And
so there you have it.
We talk all about nipple shields and pumps and stuff like that. All this. It's kind of cool because I am a private practice LC and I work in a pediatrician's office, so I see moms in all different areas of their breastfeeding relationship. So sometimes we'll be like, okay, what are we going to talk about next week on the podcast? And something will happen with one of my moms, and I'm like, okay, this is an episode. We're doing, this is going to be our episode this week because stuff comes up all the time that is just, we got to talk about it. We got to make it known.
Right. And it's amazing how, we think, oh, what can we, are we going to, how are we going to have topics every week to talk about. And it's just, I mean, every week we come up with these topics that are just like such huge topics.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah, losing your shit was a good one though.
Yeah. So Kristen has directed me back to her question, and I remember her question because it's big. So here, I'm going to read the question, and then I'm going to say what I think. Any suggestions for a mom who's tried everything? My 3.5-month-old is unable to latch. I'm exclusively pumping, tie releases, chiropractor, lactation consultant, breastfeeding groups, nipple shields, soft shells. I feel like a crazy lactating lady. Now I have thrush and a cracked nipple. I would head over to DianeCassidyConsulting.com and sign up for an online consultation with Diane, because that is a lot.
That's a lot
that's a lot to deal with on a chat, and there's probably a million questions that she would have before she can even begin to answer that.
I will tell you that I did an online, I've done online chats with moms off the podcast before, just kind of reach out to me and say, I'd love to be able to have a consult with you. And there was a mom, I'm in New York. There was a mom in California. We did a Skype thing. We've been keeping in touch. Baby did not latch for 3 months and is now exclusively breastfeeding. So do not give up, because we can get to the bottom of it. And, I think you're fantastic for still pumping, because that's a really hard thing to do when you're discouraged.
Yeah, I mean, when I first had Jack, I was told from the moment he was born that I wasn't making enough milk and that I needed to supplement with formula. And that went on for a couple of months. And every day, all day, I was in a full-blown panic attack, thinking that, that this was going to be over, and I didn't know what to do. And it was so lonely. I mean, I didn't know anybody who had a baby, let alone who to go to with problems. And, the first lactation consultant that I reached out to, she had us exclusively breastfeeding within a few weeks. But, you said that you had reached, you've been through all these professionals. And the thing is that, the lactation consultant, I think, is somebody who's going to be able to help you. But not all lactation consultants are equal.
Right. Yeah.
There's different levels, and there's different levels of experience, and different, things you've been exposed to. And so maybe trying another lactation consultant, I think, might, can sometimes be the answer.
The other thing too that I have found here in Rochester, and I don't know if this is, if it's like that where you are, or even where you are, Abby, but we have a lot of certified lactation counselors, which is fantastic, because like a lot of pediatricians' offices will send their nurses to a CLC course, which is a 40-hour, 1-week-long course. It gives them a good base knowledge, breastfeeding, and how to support and counsel a mom, but no actual clinical stuff. But new mothers don't understand the difference between a certified lactation counselor and a lactation consultant. And a lot of times they'll think that they are being helped by a lactation consultant. I have this happen all the time. Somebody just this week was like, I saw a visiting nurse several times. I thought she was a lactation consultant. I'm like, she would not have given you the advice she gave you if she was an actual lactation consultant. But she didn't know. She was a new mother. She had no idea.
Sure. Right.
So,
you don't know. I mean, you don't know things as a new mother. You don't know all the things that you don't know. You're new here.
Yeah. And sometimes, you have some lactation consultants that work in the hospital. I worked in the hospital for several years. And when you're a hospital-based lactation consultant, you see what happens day 1 to day 3, and that's pretty much it. You approach them with a 6-week problem. They're really not going to know how to handle that, because they don't see that every day. Same, with pediatricians' offices. A lot of pediatricians' offices, they don't see babies breastfeeding past 3 months.
little bit. I don't know if it's just me or if it's everybody, but whatever.
Hi.
Oh, okay. Diane is gone. I see her going out, I think. Oh, hi.
Here I am.
Is she back? Okay.
Yeah, I just refreshed and it comes back, you know.
Yeah, I know. Be Live is good like that. You can refresh back in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were you saying?
Oh yeah, so like different, like, you know, like pediatricians' offices, sometimes they don't see babies breastfeeding past 2 or 3 months, you know, necessarily.
Right. Am I gone? Oh.
No, you're here.
Why did I go away? Okay.
I don't know. That was weird.
All right. I want to read Laura's comment. I'm going to tell everyone I know about the Badass Breastfeeding podcast. Such helpful, useful information. Wish I knew about it with my first 2. Well, it didn't exist then, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I've learned so much from this, and I owe a lot of my goal of breastfeeding a year to this site and podcast. Couldn't have done it without it. Thanks so much.
Oh,
that's very sweet, Laura. And all of you listen to what she just said, because again, it is helpful, free information. There's no joke here. We're not tricking you. We are people who I've been blogging for 7 years about this, just because I went through this with personally, and it turned into a thing that I do. And Diane's a lactation consultant, and you know, again, we're just here giving you information so that you don't have to go through all the crap that we went through.
Yeah, because we did. And that's seriously how I ended up here, because I had like zero help with my kids. So, you know, it was hard. Did not have this community at all.
Bailey says, what's your opinion on inflated birth weight due to IV fluids during labor? My son was born 10 pounds, 10 ounces, but at 24 hours, he was 9 pounds, 13 ounces. Then at 48 hours, 9 pounds, 11 ounces. It didn't get back to birth weight until 3 weeks, and our LC and doctor tried to get us a supplement in 2 weeks because he wasn't gaining fast enough. So what's the deal with inflated birth weight?
That is a real thing, and there's a lot of evidence on that, a lot of research on that. And it sounds like your baby lost a lot of that water weight in that first 24 hours, which is typical for IV fluid weight loss, and then lost very little the next, you know, after that. If the baby was pooping and peeing, you're fine. We also noticed that babies that have that inflated birth weight, they do gain their birth weight slower. And it might be 3 or 4 weeks before they get back to their birth weight, because it wasn't really their birth weight. So we're trying to get to a weight that isn't accurate. You should have been going by that 913, because that was his weight at 24 hours. And that's what they should be doing. A lot of research on it. So if you really want to, you can find that research. Just Google even, and you will find some really good research on that, because it's out there.
Yeah. So if you're born with like retaining water or whatever, that's not going to come back, because that shouldn't have been there to begin with.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Can you hear my husband snoring?
No.
You were. Is he snoring?
He was, yeah. And he heard me say that. And he goes, nope.
We heard it. It was just broadcasted live to 250,000 people.
Yes. He blames it on his chair, because he's in his recliner. Whenever he gets in that recliner, he just goes to sleep. So he's like, it's the chair. I swear, it's the chair.
He's just lazy. Okay. Well, if nobody has anything else for us, I guess we're done.
Yeah, before we freeze again.
I know. Oh, it did. It froze right as you said that. That's hilarious. Okay, so she'll come back, but I'll let you know. I'm assuming that it's her frozen and not me. The Badass Breastfeeding Podcast, free breastfeeding information, over 60 episodes. iTunes, Google Play, Buzzsprout, Spotify, and head to the previous post where you can enter my giveaway. And I'm going to do giveaways promoting the podcast every month or so. Every month. And there's Diane back, which she can say hello and goodbye.
Yes. Well, yeah, I was good. And I had just said we should probably go before we freeze again. And then like that was it. But yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thanks for watching us, you guys.
Yes, thank you. And somebody asked before, I forgot to answer, they asked if these lives were regular. And they're semi-regular. They're not scheduled. We try to schedule them, but then things get moved around but yes, every month we're on here once or twice. Try to rotate it with like the recording of the podcast, but whatever. Yeah, we come on as much as we can so that we can talk to you and tell you about the podcast because we really, really want you to listen.
We do.
I'm not trying to lie about that. We really, really want you to listen.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see you next time then.
Thanks, you guys. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.